In the darkness of the night, we send our dreams to the stars, leaving Earth behind, searching for life. Wonder if there are aliens in their cars, floating through this cosmic sea. Are we alone or just a mystery? Searching the cosmos, seeking the truth. All of our voices echo to the moon. Alien life, tales of the youth. Together we'll dance to the celestial tune. Galaxies swirl in an endless dance, messages whispered caught in the winds. The universe spurs our wild romance. In this quest a new chapter begins. Eyes are watching from afar. Will we find them or are they just a scar? Searching the cosmos, seeking the truth. All of our voices echo to the moon. Alien life, tales of the youth. Together we'll dance to the celestial tune. The galaxies swirl in an endless dance, messages whispered caught in the winds. The universe spurs our wild romance. In this quest a new chapter begins. Eyes are watching from afar. Will we find them or are they just a scar? Searching the cosmos, seeking the truth. All of our voices echo to the moon. Alien life, tales of the youth. Together we'll dance to the celestial tune. So we'll travel, we'll dare to explore. In the silence of space we'll find so much more. We'll find so much more. Whoa.
Welcome everyone. It's an awesome trailer, that I must admit, and I'm going to say that I always give it like 3 minutes as everybody starts coming in across the platform. But it's quite interesting. I was just reading an article there about the subject what I actually got to be talking about. But before we start, we've also got the lovely Jenny next to me here, and we have the lovely Wayne himself below me here too. So I had to admit, lovely, make you not feel out of place or anything like that. But I would just like to say to everybody, this has got to be an interesting show tonight. Now, we're not showing any pictures tonight because it's snow. I'm not showing Nazi pictures and stuff like that because I'm not giving them any more what people like to look at and stuff like that, if you know what I'm saying. But it's an interesting subject, this, and it's something that I've wanted to talk about for a long time. Now, I know the reason it gave me this, the reason I wanted to do this is because of the Argentinian government are going to be releasing files.
Yes.
Containing to some of the people that were not told that left Nazi Germany. It could be Adolf Hitler. I don't know. Maybe it is. I've got a suspicion that Hitler did survive the war. And that's why I've got Wayne tonight and I've got you, Jenny. And I think this has got to be an interesting show tonight because not just that, we've got Argentina really close to Antarctica. You see where I'm going with this? So I had to bring in the UFO feel to this. So, everybody, how are you all tonight? Jenny?
Good. Tell you now, I did stuff today I didn't think I was going to do. And now I'm sore, tired, and realised I'm aging. 'Cause I put up new fences today. New fences on my deck, and so my dogs, couldn't get up onto it because they think it's the big toilet. So I had to kind of like put fences. I know, right? Put new fences back up, and I did a little bit of planting, and then I power hosed, and then I cleaned bathrooms and all that, normal stuff.
Yeah.
But apart from that, good, all good.
Yeah.
All good. Everyone was safe today, and
Fantastic.
knew to kind of like do not try me. But apart from that, I'm good.
Yeah. Wayne, how are you?
Yes, not too bad.
It's
Not
your
too
first
bad.
time. It's your first time on the show. It's the first time. I know
It
we've
is,
been
yeah.
on the show together before on a different channel. That's Willow's channel. We've been on with Willow
Yeah.
quite a few times. I was actually hoping Willow would join us tonight, but I don't think she can make it. But I've posted the link in the chat if anybody wants to come in. Come in. But we're here for about 2 hours, so we can talk about strange things, Just like to see everybody in the chat. Lawrence, we've got Iron Firehorse, we've got Cherry Flowers, Jenny A,
Jenny, hi,
Sandy Black's
hi.
there. My goodness, we've got a selection of people tonight. So, who wants to start first? What is your opinion? I'll tell you, let's ask our guest first, Jenny. Right. Wayne,
Okay.
what's your opinion? What's your opinion, Wayne? Did you think the Führer survived the war?
Yes.
Since the 1980s.
I'm almost certain, without a doubt. My view of it, Adolf Hitler suffered badly from paranoia.
Oh, yeah.
He would not allow himself to be captured. He wouldn't have gone down like that they say he did. And there's a lot of evidence that states otherwise, that he died in the bunker.
Yes.
It's things like, the cyanide pills and shooting and then going out into the courtyard, his body being burnt to a crisp. And then when the Russians turned up, all they found was fragments. Now, these fragments supposedly have vanished. And all we've got is their word from dental records that they claimed were Adolf Hitler's.
Yeah.
But nobody has seen them since. Since they made the claim, no one's seen them since. They've all vanished.
See, that's so interesting because obviously I don't know everybody here. I can you, Wayne, you've probably watched this, and Jenny, I don't know about you, but did you ever see the series, Jenny, called Hunting Hitler?
I heard about it, but I didn't watch it.
Yeah, it's really good.
You see, a lot of things that people don't know about Hitler is he had a lot of doubles.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he really did. Yeah, that
He used them all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, because he was so paranoid, he didn't like going places. So he sent I think it was after the what do you call it, the Wolf's Lair kind of incident.
I think there's one still alive.
Operation Valkyrie.
Yeah.
There's one still alive in the UK. Just saying. There's one still alive in the UK.
Oh God. But see, this is the thing, right? I mean, I watched that Hunting Hitler, and everybody will say it was a bit far fetched, and you've got to remember most programs like that are far fetched to bring it. Look the Cursey Oak Islands, right? It's been running for that long now. Everybody's like waiting for them to dig something up. It's the same idea with it sells. You want to sell something, right? Either got to add like kind of like special things in to make you interested. But there was a few times in it where I thought he survived that. He survived that because it was the CIA that knew someone that knew Stalin in the 1950s. And Stalin said, and Stalin was 100% sure that Hitler was living in Argentina. I mean, they two were the biggest enemies. They hated each other. And Stalin really wanted him. And it makes me wonder, why was like the Americans, the CIA, protecting Hitler? Because of the technology he was giving them access to. Like, obviously, we had the UFO, the Bell. We had Antarctica. I think there was wee deals done. I honestly do think there was wee deals done.
It was Operation Paperclip. And that was the Americans' version of what the Russians were doing. The Russians and the Americans then started a race. Soon as they were racing, they weren't just racing to Berlin. They were racing to get doctors and scientists out of Germany back to their own nations so they can be used. And we know the Saturn V rocket has come from the rocket scientist. So all of these technological breakthroughs that the Germans had made during the war are now being used today, and it's because of them and Operation Paperclip that they've gone and worked for these individual countries in respective. And obviously, it's things like Die Glocke, which is going to be a mystery for a long time, because the actual bracket where the test site was still stands, but the bell itself is nowhere to be seen. Nobody knows where it is, where it's gone, and that's added fuel to the fire about what happened in Antarctica.
Yeah.
See the Antarctica again.
See, there was.
Go down to the Antarctica. Everything's about the Antarctica.
I think we need to go, Jenny. I think me and you will go to Antarctica. It's not that cold. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. A woolly jumper.
No, really grand. Listen. We come from cold countries. We come from cold countries. I did a little research on it. Not enough time to do as a lot as you guys would know. Just tiny little bits. Just his like it was 2 days later when the sovereign came out and said that he had passed away, but they had no proof of it. You know, when you don't. Well, we kind of would like proof if someone like him passed away. You know, you want to see that he is really, really, really gone. But they had no proof of it. They had nothing to show at all for it. No paperwork, no nothing for it. Or did they? Oh, someone did.
Well,
or they lost it, or that's the speculation, is that they lost the paperwork, which is the usual.
It's a lot of things. They lose a lot of things. The American government are amazing at losing things. But it's like they say they went to the moon. Well, that's just another subject in itself. They went to the moon, but they lost the technology. How do you lose the technology to go to the moon if you get what I mean? So that's why another see where we're going with this. I mean, that's what that was one of NASA's chief scientists, the one that's meant to have helped. He was a Nazi, wasn't he? And he helped. Was it Von Braun? What was his name again? Von Braun. Yeah. I mean, he was meant to have sided with the Americans and stuff, because I downloaded the files. I actually downloaded some of the CIA files, and my God, there is a selection of CIA files. May I just add that right now? It's still downloading onto my phone as we speak. But it's interesting because this is the Daily Mail that's talking about this, right? And it's the declassified CIA docs reveal Hitler's secret escape plan after World War II, as the new Nazi reports are set to release. See, the Argentinian president's going to release it. But let's face it, Hitler's dead now. If he did survive, which he did, he's dead now. But what worries me is his faction, is that still running to this day under a different name.
I think so.
We're going with this.
Go ahead.
What we've got to say is right. Say Hitler's right. Let's just be magical here and say we know what happened. Hitler survived the war, right? He went to Argentina, along with all the other Nazis that killed God knows how many innocent people, right?
Yeah.
All that money, all that gold that they took for the Jewish, and not just Jews, other religions too, they took for art that they stole that's never been recovered yet. They taken that. What did they do with that wealth? And then you think about today's society, you see these people that say they want to run the world and New World Order and stuff like that. It makes you wonder, is this descendants of the Nazi Party? Did Adolf Hitler have kids? Did those kids have kids? Do those kids have kids? Have they all kids right now sitting in their living room in front of their big fireplace with a picture of their granddad in the wall?
Could you imagine? Could you really imagine? Like, can I bring my friend over for lunch? No.
No.
Nine.
I don't know what I said there.
He did have his children. Supposedly, the children were with them in the bunker. But as I said before, he was paranoid. He would not have been taken by either the Allies in any way, shape, or form. He wouldn't have allowed it. And although he was ill at the time, he was still under medication.
Yeah.
But him, his Eva Braun, and his children were in the bunker at the time.
Yeah, I just want to say, I am Firehorse in the chat. It's the Daily Mail, but that was just one of many papers I had the choice of picking from.
Yeah.
And you've got the Sunday Post and all that kind of other stuff there, all the kind of intellectual pictures. I just picked that because it was the first one at the very top. But I'm going to say this the now. It worries you because it makes you wonder who's running this world. Because it makes you wonder if these are the people getting their own back.
Yes, because there are a lot of things. There are a lot of things we haven't been told, and obviously in the series Hunting Hitler, they do go into a lot of explanation on where a lot of the high-ranking officers got out of Berlin.
Yeah.
Now, if high-ranking officers were able to have got out of Berlin, Hitler would have done as well. I've got no doubt about it because they had 3 escape routes.
Yes.
But the one escape route that amazes me more than anything, and this should probably be one reason why the Vatican vaults so tightly sealed, is one of the routes was through northern Spain, and a number of German generals made it to a Catholic monastery or a Catholic church where they were holed up for a while, and some of them were even given plastic surgery.
Yeah.
And they were given new identities and taken to the Canary Islands where there was a sub-pen full of submarines waiting to take them over to South America.
You see, and then people say, Jenny, why do you want to investigate the Vatican? It's because of this.
I mean,
the question is, where did all that gold and the priceless art go? Could it be underneath? I'm not saying it is, but it's a possibility because no one is allowed to go in there unless you get permission. And by that time, if someone gets permission to go into the vaults, they can get down there, they can move certain things out of the way and hide them even further. So God knows what's down there. There could be all sorts.
Well, you look at the end of the war. Let's just the first couple of days of the end of the war, right? A lot of the Nazis, a lot of the fanatics, the SS, right? The fanatical SS fled to the mountains. Because a lot of people don't realise, but the Americans and the British and the French had a really lot of trouble with the Nazis after the war. They were getting ambushed. They were still getting ambushed a year after the war ended by fanatical Nazis. And they were waiting for the Americans coming along or the British convoys coming along, and they were fanatical. But a train went missing. I mean, a train went missing. A big locomotive went missing carrying. What was that? Have you seen that? Because I think there's still people to this day looking for that train, because if they find it, I think it's got a net worth of something like $9 billion or something even more than that, because it was carrying gold bullion. It was fleeing Berlin. And it disappeared.
Wow, holy Jesus!
And there is a similar train that was discovered in Norway, and it was sealed. And it was sealed up in a railway tunnel in Norway, and it wasn't discovered for years after the war. And now it sits in Bressingham Steam Museum.
Yes.
And I've got that the actual. I took a picture of it. I've visited Bressingham a couple of times when I used to work on the coaches, and I'm using a picture that I took of that train for the cover of my new book that I'm writing.
God.
And that was a Nazi train, and it was found inside a tunnel in Norway.
Yeah.
And they reckon that this train that's missing is a very similar gauge, the similar make and model.
It makes you wonder, what was it towing? Was it towing anything at the time? And then it's maybe been buried somewhere. The wagons are buried somewhere.
I think they have. They've been hidden away somewhere until they're needed.
Yeah. I mean, what's that,
Jen? I'm just reading Flower's comment here. Did he have any children with Eva?
See, that's the thing.
Well, what I've looked up so far, and this is from 2023, there were only 5 living members of the Hitler family. If they have their way,
she's a sister.
Right? If they have their way, the family bloodline will stop with them. Peter. These are all German names, so I'm not going to be great at saying them. Heiner, I think Alexander, Lewis and Brian are all vastly different men. Peter was an engineer and Alexander was a social worker. Okay, this is about Hitler's daughter. Anna finishes her story with Heidi. I don't know what that is, so I'm not going to read that because I have no idea what that is.
German.
So apparently his childhood home is still standing.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to his wife? Oh yeah, so his wife there said the same thing with as himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now there's one here saying, which I'm very interested in. What happened to Hitler's dog? I want to know about the dog.
That's interesting. Oh, you go, sorry.
No, sorry. Hitler ordered his staff to prepare for the end. An eyewitness noted that Hitler's SS bodyguards were destroying his personal papers. Elsewhere, one of the doctors was instructed by Hitler to poison Blondie, his Alsatian dog. What an arsehole. What an arse. Yeah. What an arsehole. I mean, everything he had and that was close to him and his family thing related, he wanted gone. When he goes, he wanted everyone to go with him.
Yeah.
Not even the dog could survive it.
And it weren't as if the dog was going to sit there and go, oh, well, I can tell you everything about him.
Let me tell you, look, get these on my lap, the dog whisperer. He'll tell you what happened to Hitler. For crying out loud. So even the dog, he got one of the doctors was instructed to poison the dog, the Blondie, his dog.
Yep.
And that's just
but
wow.
I mean, obviously Speer killed himself in the bunker too, along with his family and all the children. But does that not tell you something? Though? Does that not, like, right, again, this has got to sound mad, right? If Hitler escaped the bunker, right, now you had two choices. He could have went through the underground tunnels, made it up at the airport, and the plane landed. Or there was that pilot at the time, I can't remember her name, but she was really good. The plane that was going to land, and I can't remember the make of the plane. It's a funny looking thing.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about, when this type of plane. And it could land in really short runways and stuff like that. So they had that idea. Think about it. If he was escaping the bunker, right, he could only take certain things with him. One, he could take maybe his wife at the time, and that was it. He couldn't take his dog. So is that why they killed the dog?
Yeah. And they found that particular tunnel that led from the area into the airport.
Yes.
Although it's been filled in, they used LiDAR and they found the tunnel that ran across a park in front of the airport, and it leads right underneath it. And they were then saying about how this particular plane would not be able to take off because its wings were too wide. The wingspan was too great. And they said for that plane to have taken off on the freeway in the main Autobahn in Berlin, they would have had to have removed the lampposts. But oddly enough, a photo surfaced of all the lampposts on this freeway being removed.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
The entire stretch of freeway had been completely devoid of any lampposts, which would have allowed that plane to have landed and taken off again at very short notice.
I'm trying to find the name of the plane. It's got a really funny name. It looks like a Piper Cub, but it's not a Piper Cub. It's got a big undercarriage. I can remember seeing it on TV, and this thing could take off in like 30, 40 feet.
Yeah.
This thing could land
really?
in about 20 feet. Oh yeah, this thing could come in really slow, and then just go boom and stop, and they could take off again. They were designed. I can't remember what it's called. I'm going to look it up in a minute. But that was a light aircraft. A general, and if you watched The Bunker, if anybody's ever watched the film by Anthony Hopkins, The Bunker, that's what it's called, The Bunker.
Is it? Sorry, No, there's probably wrong. Sorry, I'm sorry, Chris. Sorry for interrupting. I'm looking up
No, sorry, I like to find the name of that plane because it's annoying me.
Does it begin with M? Is like the Messerschmitt.
No.
Yeah, you had the Messerschmitts, but I was thinking
Okay.
a lot of the Messerschmitts were more were mainly fighters or fighter bombers.
Yeah.
Right, there's the plane there, but that's the best. I don't really want to show Hitler's face, but wait now. I witnessed Hitler's escape, right? So that's the plane. I can zoom up and show you the plane here, right?
Okay.
It's got. I can't mind exactly what the plane was called, but that is it there.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it's basically a very, very light aircraft with a very powerful engine in it, right? So this thing I've seen models because my dad does the model planes and stuff. I've seen models of that plane, and it could come in and it could just go boom. It could just stop, and then it could just take off again, and it could take off. They used it to like drop like special forces and stuff like that. That's what it was used mostly for. But it's. I think he's escaped. I really do, and I think it's been covered up. I think he's traded something. He's traded something important to the
It was. Sorry to jump in, but it was a Faisal FI-156 Storch.
There you go.
There you go. Now, Christopher.
It was held on standby, which could take off from an improvised airstrip in the Tiergarten near the Brandenburg Gate.
Yeah.
And it was the autobahn up to the Brandenburg Gate that said that the aircraft was too wide and you would need to remove the lampposts. So they removed them. And then they were then replaced once the plane was supposed to have taken off. And they said, but everybody, all accounts said the lampposts haven't been removed until a photo surfaced of that strip of runway with no lamp, just the stumps of the lampposts.
Yeah.
And that plane had been and gone. Otherwise, they wouldn't have removed the lampposts.
Yeah.
So someone got out in that plane.
You'll get people saying, "Oh, maybe the plane landed and then he didn't want to go and the plane took off without him." No, I mean, no. He knew the war was lost. He knew the war was lost as soon as the Americans entered the war. The war was lost as soon as the Americans entered the war.
Okay.
I've discussed this. What's that?
Okay, so it says, I'm just looking up things here now. You know what Google is like. Could be right, could be wrong. It says, who was Adolf Hitler's son? It is alleged that Hitler had a son, Jean-Marie Laurent, with a French woman named Charlotte.
Yes.
Jean-Marie Laurent.
I still like.
Was born in March 1918 and died in 1985, age 67. Laurent married several times and had as many as 9 children. Okay.
I seen a documentary about that, Jenny. I seen it. Yeah. Okay. It was a half son.
Yeah.
Because he had
wasn't a full.
Yeah. Okay.
Because he looks like him. Looks totally like him.
Oh, that's. Gosh, I don't know. It's a little bit. I have a picture of him, and same fucking mustache. Like, oh my god, no.
I'm going to say this to you. I don't know if you've ever actually looked up Argentina. It's an interesting country, but do you know that there's parts of Argentina that are dead like Germany because of all the Germans that fled there. And still to this day, because I know people that work in Argentina, right? I'll not say their names or nothing like that. But they've told me that Hitler, the Nazi Party, and all that are loved over there. Still to this very day. It's a very big thing. Oh, good God, yes. There's little towns in Argentina that they've still got swastikas and.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will add on that though, because Argentina obviously they declared they were neutral, but they weren't. Everybody knew they were quite supportive of the Nazi Party. I was actually having this conversation with my parents earlier on today because I was trying to explain to my son, who's got an interest in World War II like I have, We were over in Athens a few years back, one Christmas, and we walked past this big building, and there was a cast iron fence and gate along the front, and
Okay.
every panel of these cast iron fence posts had swastikas on them.
Wow.
And I turned around and I said to my mum, after all this time, they still have allowed that to be on there. And the simple answer came back from my sister's boyfriend, Spiros, that the reason why it's there is it's to remind people of what an evil person he was.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so they kept it there. The fact that the swastika has been misinterpreted
Oh yeah, it was a peace symbol.
because the traditional swastika doesn't mean anything to do with the Nazi Party, and it does get wronged. We recently had someone had put a swastika on a pavement outside our local hospital, and it made the local newspaper. Everybody was up in arms about it, and they wouldn't post a picture. But I asked in the Facebook group chat, were there dots with that swastika? And they went, yes, there was 4 in between each arm. I said, then maybe you need to do your research before you cause problems by reporting on something that isn't. And they went, what do you mean? I said, that wasn't a Nazi emblem. That was a Buddhist Hindu emblem.
Yeah.
And it predates the Nazi Party by far.
Wow.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You say, but oh, sorry, Jenny. When you
no. I'm just saying, why did it become the symbol of what people would think it is now, the Nazi symbol? Why did it change?
I think it's something to do with the dark sun. If you go to Himmler's nice little palace, you will find the black sun in the middle of the main hall that he's got that he had there, and it was composed of all these arms. And I think the logo there for the black sun reminded him of the Hindu swastika or the Buddhist swastika, and so he decided to design it so that you had the 4 arms, which would be in relation with the black sun.
See, a lot of people don't realise this about Hitler. Hitler was an artist. A lot of people don't realise that Hitler was an artist, and they said Hitler was the one that, developed the Nazi swastika and turned up. He taken it off the Buddhist. The reason I say that, and the reason I think was that my grandmother, she's gone now, and she had this beautiful Hindu vase, beautiful, and I lifted it up one day, and at the bottom it was the swastika, and I didn't care because I was only young. I went, oh, German. And my grandpa went, no. And he says, look, dots, Hindu dots.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And he says, like, dots, Buddhist dots, like that. And I'm like, oh, right. So that's what that. And then I remembered that ever since. And then I watched the about Hitler. He was an artist, right? That's why he didn't like the UK, because he tried to get into the art colleges in the UK and stuff like that. Somebody said.
So that's the symbol of the black sun.
Yes, the black sun.
Wow. Okay.
So you can see where the similarity between that and an abbreviated version of that into the swastika.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that is on the floor in what was Himmler's castle.
Yes. What's the name of that castle? You got the name of it again? I can't remember. There was a castle in particular. I can't remember. It was like you went into this room.
Wewelsburg Castle.
Is that the one with the kind of chamber, the big chamber that's inside it?
Yeah.
Right, because I remember having a conversation with somebody that was right into this, and I mean right into the Nazi. It was like a professor of this kind of stuff, right? And I said to him, I was talking to him. It was after a show actually, and I said to him, what do you actually think happened with the Nazis and stuff like that? He says, they were into dark stuff, and this is really dark stuff. There's actually, see a lot of the Jews that went missing. Some of them didn't go to the extermination camps. See, this is where it goes down into the realm, the paranormal. Some of them are sacrificed. A lot of them are sacrificed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking like 10, 20, 30, 40 people. I'm talking trainloads at a time. right? There's a big helicopter going over me now. I don't know if you can hear that. But there would be trains that would take them to the castle, and they would never be seen again. The trains would come back with nobody on them. I can't remember the castle. I think that's the castle, and it had the railway tracks right up to it. Because I think
Quite possibly.
the tracks right up to the train. Now,
Yeah,
why
I mean that
would you have
that was a cult central for Himmler. So that was the be all and end all of everything occult for Himmler. And Himmler was the one that was in charge of all of this occult stuff, which filtered through to Adolf. And so, of course, when you look at the list of doctors that he used that were involved with the Nazi Party as well, you know, I mean, a lot of them were doing things like high altitude experiments, but then others were going on about different experiments with different diseases and things like, you know, learning about how to deal with malaria. There's scores of doctors that were responsible for learning about injections.
Yes.
So what were they injecting? So, you know, and a lot of there are doctors there that were responsible for experimentation on surgical procedures.
Yeah.
Now, some of those surgical procedures would have included things like plastic surgery.
I was going to say plastic surgery for him.
Facial transplants, things like that. And there is, I can't remember which general it was, but one of the generals that escaped to northern Spain was given full facial reconstructive surgery before he moved down to the Canary Islands.
Here,
Could you
I don't
imagine?
know if this will show you this or no, right? Because it'll not let me upload it for some weird mad reason. But this is Winsburg Castle, right? And it's been turned into an art gallery. Right, honestly, they turned it into an art gallery. But you've got the switchstick in the roof, and then you've got the dark sun, obviously. But turn my light off so I can show you. So that's what it was. They don't know what sat in the middle. They don't know what sat in the middle, right? But obviously you've got that, and you've got the dark sun and stuff like that.
Okay.
And here's an interesting fact. Below
there's another view of a different room in there.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. And here's an interesting fact about this, right? A lot of people don't realise this. See that round thing? They don't know what was in there. But there's little channels that lead to it. And then it's got a bit where it drains off. What flow into that?
Oh, I'm going to say fluid.
Yeah, fluids. And it's interesting because it's scary. I mean, there's one that can actually show you some of the channels and stuff like that. They don't know what was in basically in the centre there. They don't know what was there. It disappeared just before the war ended. And I mean, just before the Americans raided it, it was gone. The SS had done their thing. They'd done their...
Yep.
The SS destroyed Hitler's house and stuff like that. They set it on fire and blew it up. Did you not get that? Why? They didn't want anything left. Anything. I think the Eagle's Nest survived. Was it the Eagle's Nest that survived? Because it's actually a cafe now, isn't it? It's like a cafe.
Yeah, there's a cafe there on the veranda.
Shop and stuff like that.
His house is just a ruins right now. His house is just a ruins right now.
I ken somebody that's been to it. No, it is. It's just grass.
Really?
Yeah. You can still stand where the garage was, and you can still walk up the steps where Hitler would walk, because I knew to take his camper van up there.
Good Lord, would you walk those steps if you were there? Would you walk those steps if you were there now?
I would walk it because I would like to feel the energy that's there, because it makes you wonder. Because he was an evil man, and he was just the only evil man in amongst that. I mean, you had obviously. I mean, people don't realise how evil the Nazis were. People don't realise how evil. It's like Schindler's List. You've ever seen the movie Schindler's List, right?
Yeah.
That guy did everything in his power to save as many as he could, right? Mm-hmm. See, got to remember, after the war, the Jews went to Israel, and then you had Mossad that went after that went after the Nazis, and a lot of them were taken back. A lot of the Nazis were taken back to Israel, where they were executed. And I can't remember when. Do you know what the name of the Mossad was? The certain name, and they went out looking for criminals.
Crumbs. There was loads of them, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Because they all went over to actually find a lot of the people, a lot of the doctors and the generals that had escaped over to South America, because they felt they needed to stand trial, and they managed to catch a good deal of them, and they shipped them back to Israel. And I can't remember what the program's called now, but there was a show on Amazon Prime, and it was literally about that group.
Aye, and the young guy joined it. Yeah,
and I can't remember the name of it now, but it was about the Mossad group. And they managed to find quite a few of them, and they were then sent back to Israel, where they were given what a lot of people felt to be an unfair trial.
I mean,
was it unfair?
No, I don't think it was unfair.
After what they did and what they were responsible for doing, there would have been no such thing as an unfair trial.
Yeah.
They escaped justice the first time round. They weren't going to escape justice the second time round.
I mean, let's just think of some of here's Wikipedia, right? Let's go to Wikipedia. But I mean, there was that doctor. What was his name?
Mengele.
That's what I've just looked up. I mean, there was Mengele. he did some serious, crazy, dark stuff. I mean, this is going to scare some folks. So if you're not into this kind of thing, guys, go and watch something else. But I'm going to say right now that he actually used children with Down syndrome and other children with defects, like maybe one had a different size arm or something like that. But they opened their brains up while they were still alive and stuff like that. That's how crazy and dark these people were.
And again, there was a lot of experimentation on twins.
Yes.
This was supposedly in a bizarre bid to try and regenerate the German public as quick as possible. So there was a lot of experimentation on gestation period and the twins, and try and build up the German population as quickly as possible. Now, how far did that experiment go?
See, it makes you wonder today's scientific things. Is some of that still leached out into the kind of private? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, you've seen all the mad films where they try and clone Hitler. Maybe they were thinking, oh, we've still got a bit of Hitler here. Let's clone him. him. I mean, the Germans were all. That's why they were. And a lot of folk think this is fake, but it's no. The Germans actually had a team that went and looked for artifacts. They looked for the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant. Everybody thinks, that's Indiana Jones stuff, but it's no. It's real. They actually had somebody. They actually had a team. I don't know if the Americans or the British had any, but they actually had a team looking for the Spear of Destiny and the Shroud of Turin, and they wanted to make their troops immortal so they would win in the battlefield. When America came into the war, they knew they were screwed. It was only a matter of time before America destroyed them, because their navy was slowly getting depleted. You know, with the big battleships and stuff like that, they were getting sunk. The British Navy was bigger than the German Navy, basically. So, and then the Americans came in. So it was like, but it's true what you say, Wayne. I mean, you think about today's medicine, how much has came from the torture of poor children in Nazi Germany to today's medicine.
Exactly. And this is why they had so many doctors. Not only did they have the likes of rocket scientists and engineers and things like that, but they had medical practitioners and medical surgeons doing all kinds of experiments, and a lot of those things were to try and further the cause, which was obviously their primary objective. But as a result of that, they found out, and I know it does sound morbid and in a way wrong, but they did find out things that today we are still using.
Yeah.
So they've done all this. They've done all this research, and it's been at the people's cost. But it was still research that we wouldn't have had for maybe decades after.
I know.
And it's the way they've gone about it was wrong.
I mean, a lot of people don't realise that that's where fluoride was invented. The Nazis invented fluoride. You heard that one? And
Yeah.
I said it was quite funny because I was at the dentist a couple of months ago, and I said to the guy, he says, "Yeah, it was the Nazis that invented it." And he's like, "No." And I said, "It was the Nazis invented it and stuff like that." I mean, you don't really use fluoride if you want for your teeth. But what I'm saying is, it was actually fluoride has got it does protect your teeth, right? But it also dumbs you down. See, if you use too much, if you use too much fluoride, it can actually dumb you down. Did you get that, Jenny?
I did not know
Nazis
that.
developed.
I knew fluoride was like bad and so on, but I did not know it does that.
Yeah, it was the Nazis developed the old fluoride. That's why in the kind of psychic community, see when you've got the tarot readers and you get folk that do the psychics and stuff like that, they tend to try and stay away from the fluoride because it kind of dumbs you down a wee bit.
Well, when I was listening to or doing a tiny little bit of research on him when he was in that bunker, and he had done that with himself and his wife. His children, Wayne, what happened with his children? If his children were in the bunker with him?
From what I remember, there was only 2 children in the bunker with them.
Okay.
And they both supposedly died with him and Eva.
I know the children that when Eva and Hitler were in the bunker, they didn't have any kids at that time.
I can't remember what documentary it was I saw. There was 2 children in the bunker, and they were in the bedroom section, and they were poisoned.
That was Spear's kids. That was Spear.
Right.
That was the propaganda minister, the guy that loved Hitler. He was stood about. He always had like a brown jacket on. Yeah, he killed his own children along with him. Yeah, what happened is the mother. If you look at the mother point, and I think it was 4 children because if you watch the movie, it was 2 boys and 2 little girls. And what happened is she says, "Oh, we're going to the Germania or something like," because that was their mad thing that they believed in. They tell the kids we're going on an adventure, and you have to take this pill, and you'll wake up in Germania or somewhere mad like that. And they take it, and it was cyanide. And then the 2 of them, after they say they witnessed Hitler and Eva kill themselves, they marched up and they got the SS to shoot them both. So that's what they say happened. I mean,
okay.
It could have just been carefully scripted, because wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it was Eva and Hitler took the cyanide, and then the instruction was they would take the cyanide, and then one person would enter the room and shoot them to make sure the cyanide did the job. They were then to be taken out to the front court of the bunker, and they were to be put into this shallow hole, and they were to be set on fire so that nothing remained of their body.
The children were moved and buried in a cemetery in Berlin, I know that, somewhere. But it's unmarked graves because of who they were.
Yeah.
They weren't Hitler's kids. The only child that everybody thinks that he had was that one that the Iron Fire Horse said about in the chat that you said about in France. The one you talked about. But there was never any really, supposedly that was him. Right, supposedly that was him. But then again, it might have not been, because There was a documentary made, and it was like undisclosive. It wouldn't be released for some weird reason. Maybe that's because they didn't want to say it was him, right? But I'm going to say that if he fled, what happened is now what I've managed to research, because listen, I was up last night to 4:30 this morning researching this. He went to Argentina.
I did like half an hour before we started.
Argentina, even though I had a migraine, I did this. Even though I had a migraine, I did this. And he went to Argentina and he had 2 daughters in Argentina.
Okay.
And the 2 daughters get married and obviously had sons. And they say the sons are the ones that's meant to be running the world as we speak.
What was the guy's name? Was it Joseph? No.
The guy that had the kids was called Himmler. He was the propaganda minister for Adolf Hitler. He did all the propaganda, did all the movies. He made a movie and all that about saying how the Germans were winning the war. Well, they weren't they? Just to keep the German population busy. He was like that's what he did, right? But his wife killed her own children. Now, I can't mind if it was 3 children or 2 boys, but I know it was about 3 or 4 children. I've watched the film. The best film I watch is the Bunker. It's called, with Anthony Hopkins.
Okay.
That's the one. It's a bit of a depressing movie. Every time you watch it, you want something better to happen then. But obviously, you know that.
I don't know. Gosh.
They take the DNA. They take the DNA off the couch, right? Where Hitler killed himself, right?
Yes.
Because his blood, right? And they said that's Hitler's and stuff like that. But the bones that was left after burning didn't match up. Didn't match up with the DNA that was there. And another thing, I don't know if Wayne, you know about this, but the skull that they broke back that they say is Hitler's, they found like a dirt, like inside it there was like soil, right? And the soil they found in it was a reddish soil. And that reddish soil, you can't get that anywhere in Europe, but you can get it in Argentina.
Yeah.
So did they wait till he died, decomposed, opened his grave, taken his head, put it in a box, brought it back and said, oh, here's his head?
Possibility. Because when I had looked it up and whatnot, they said at the end of it, after all of the conspiracy theories and so on, at the end of it, his teeth, and he only had 4 teeth left that were his. And they had many I'm going to say the word paperwork on dentist records with his teeth. Many dentist records with his teeth. So 4 of the teeth from the bunker was his, and that the hole in the head that he had shot himself with, that Hitler had shot himself, he had it showed that there was a hole in the skull. And I'm looking at a lot of things here, and there's a thing with the family of Adolf Hitler, and I'm not going to say the word right, but I'm going to say it. The Bells, whatever family, and they
Goebbels.
Goebbels, yeah.
That's the one. I'm saying it so wrong. And they had 2. And what I'm looking at is 2 daughters and 1 son.
Right, that's the one. Right, I've get mixed up. He was right. Wait a minute, I'm getting mixed up here. Goebbels was the one that did the movies.
Okay.
He was the propaganda minister, wasn't he? Am I right here? He was the propaganda. Right, that's where I get mixed up.
Joseph Goebbels.
Because I was trying to think. That's not right. I was thinking to myself that other guy, Speer was the architect for Germania, for Germany, Hitler's pal, right? He was the one that refused Hitler's orders to blow up all the bridges and destroy Germany and stuff. It was Goebbels was the one that shot himself. He shot his wife, then he shot himself, and then his wife killed the kids. I was trying to figure that out there because I was sitting to myself and said, wait, I watched The Bunker the other night there because I kind of was going to do this show, and then I realised I'd got that wrong. So Speer was the architect for Adolf Hitler, and Goebbels was the, what do you call it, the one today with the, like propaganda, movies, radio.
Right.
That's who he was. I got that wrong, everyone. Sorry about that. But there you
No,
go.
go on,
You
go on.
learn something. I bet you get people
That's why
that
I'm
watch this.
here.
You'll get people that watch this and say, "You're wrong, Chris. You're wrong." Get
That's
your
why I'm here,
facts straight.
because I'm Googling everything right now.
But there you go. It's just getting mixed up. But now we know who that was. But
Right.
Gorbals actually, see if you watch the very first bunker movie, because there's been quite a few. See, what's his name? What's that about? It's a British actor that played Hitler. I can't mind his name. He's dead now. He's gone now. There's a scene in it where Gorbals brings him 2 lamps. And this is actually true. And lamps that looks like they're made out of paper and stuff, get like lamps, and says, "What do you think of these?" to Adolf Hitler. He says, "Oh, these are nice. Yeah, these are made using the skin of the Jews." And that's an actual fact. You can look that up. They actually made items from the skin
A lampshade.
of Jews. The lampshades.
Yeah.
And that's what, because when you mentioned Spear, and I was like, Spear, but no, Spear built things. Spear was an architect, and then it really popped into my head when you said Gorbals that he was the one, that his wife was the one that killed the children. So there you go.
Really?
You learn something every day. Everybody's getting. I'm getting older. I'm getting dementia.
Well, apparently
Eventually
now,
it comes back.
I'm kind of gone down a rabbit hole here now, so I'm reading a lot of things. So I'm looking at what was Hitler's last words before he died, and now I want to know who heard him.
Bugger.
Ouch.
What the words were? It is finished. Goodbye.
Well,
But who was there to hear him saying that? Who was in the bunker to leave the bunker?
You can get it in this
Saying this
sense.
is what he said. So then saying it is finished, goodbye, Hitler took Eva back into their rooms for the last time. During the afternoon, Hitler shot himself and Eva took the poison capsule that he'd given her. So listen, when you go to Google, God knows what you'll get from it.
Oh God.
But apparently it is finished, goodbye.
I mean, you think about it. A couple of days before he shot himself, he could visit the Eastern Front, the Western Front, be back in time for breakfast. I mean, it was like 100 yards away. There was like the Russians were running about him. He was screwed. But here's the thing: I don't think that was him in the bunker. I think that was one of his.
Like I said earlier, the evidence that was taken from the fire pit outside the bunker has mysteriously disappeared.
Yes.
The Russians took it, and now the Russians don't know where it is.
Of course they bloody don't.
It's the same as NASA. They lost the technology to go to the moon. They don't know where that's went. All the big rockets.
So now there's no proof because, like we said, the paperwork's all disappeared. The original bones have disappeared. So nobody can disprove it either way now. So it just adds fuel to the fire.
That's it. Like, there's so many. We will never know. No one will ever know.
Oh, I think we'll know one day.
Only those who probably carried it to their graves with them.
The only way we're going to know is if, for instance, the files that get released soon, right, and it says Adolf Hitler was protected and set there. That's the only way we're really going to know.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to find the picture. There was a picture that circulated. I think it was back in the 80s and early 90s. There was a picture going about, and it was of Adolf Hitler at an opera in South America.
Yeah, I've seen the
one.
Now,
Adolf Hitler did like opera, and in fact, he wrote an opera himself.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 1908, he wrote. It was based on an unfinished symphony of Wagner's. And basically, he then sort of did his own version. And it was, I think it's called Wieland de Schmied, or Schmid, Wieland the Smith in translation. And it was drafted by him in 1908 and based on the unfinished work. So he had a love for opera, and it wouldn't have been surprising if he would have taken every opportunity to visit an opera if he had have escaped.
Yeah.
which would coincide with this photo. But for some unknown reason, I cannot find it. And the amount of times where I've seen things and then they've disappeared again.
Oh.
Unbelievable.
Why are they releasing the files now? What are they going to get from it?
New president.
Oh.
Yeah. It's new president and peer pressure.
You're muted. Oh, she's having a moment, everyone. You better run, Nazis. Run!
Okay. Got that off my chest again.
So a new president.
And relax.
Yes. A new president has decided that he has to release all this stuff.
But why?
It's very similar. It's very similar with disclosure in the United States. So many people for decades and decades have been saying, we need UFO disclosure. We need to know the truth. And so all these heavily redacted files get released. They've been blacked out. And here you go. Here's the files. So we've looked at it and gone, oh, right, okay.
I had to bring that up. I'm only going to say this to the new Fighter Horse. Hitler's great-grandson's probably sitting watching this as we speak. That's Iron Fire Horse, by the way. She lives in the North Pole, if you want to find. I'll buy you some time.
So of course, when that was released, a lot of the stuff was redacted. It was all blacked out, and it was all the important stuff. And they're like, well, hang on a minute. This isn't right. You said you'd give us disclosure, and you've blacked out a lot of the information. Why? Yeah. That's not full disclosure like you promised.
That was quite funny when that happened. They must have been everybody's like, oh, it's disclosure. And then it was like that black.
Just couldn't make it out. I tell you. There's a lot of things that I want to say, but I'm not going to say it.
There's Chantel in the room.
Chantel. Hold on, I'll put this up. They're going to disclose that Hitler actually committed suicide because he saw his gas bill. Now, Chantel, I actually only finished that off now. I should have put that up because I just read the whole thing now and it was brought up. Chantel. Chantel.
It's like Hitler. He loved playing golf, but he was always in the bunkers.
Oh, okay. What is it going to fix that they bring these papers forward and public? How much of it will we see?
It'll not really fix anything because I'm going to say this to you. I don't think it will really fix anything, right? Because let's face it, nearly everybody for the war's dead now, right? Nearly everybody. There's a few maybe kicking about here and there, right?
Yeah.
The only worrying thing is if his organisation is still running under a different name, which I think it is.
I would say so too.
I mean, you got all these like special meetings in like maybe, I don't know, Austria and places like that this weather to do with like climate and other kind of things. And, you know, there's people there that's connected to that type of thing, you know.
I got into a little bit of an issue with a few people quite a few years back, and this will go back to about 2016 when we had the Brexit referendum.
Okay, I remember. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I posted a few things on my Facebook, and I got a little bit of flack for it until people actually realised that what I was saying actually made sense. And when Hitler wrote Mein Kampf, he explained in great detail that to undermine a political system is to work from the base and alter things, just small things. And you just keep chipping away at these small rules and regulations until it gets to a point where it's going to be obvious, but it's going to be too late to do anything about it. And then all of a sudden, bang, you hit this next level and everything goes into turmoil. And as a result, you get to take over. And that is what he did. And I likened it to what the EU were doing up until 2016, where they were chipping away at the small rules and regulations and doing things in a way that people were like, hang on a minute, they're scratching their heads going, well, why are they doing that for? Why are we being told we've got to have straight cucumbers and straight bananas and all these silly little rules. And they even said in the European Parliament, why are we being given these change of rules and regulations and legislation in groups of 100 instead of 1 or 2 at a time? They're being given a massive folder of all these rules and regulations they want to change. And you just go, sign them all off, just get rid of them. I can't be bothered to read through every single one of these. And that's chipping away at it all.
Yeah. It's your freedom's going to wonder. What does it Mein Kampf stand for again? Does it know My Struggle or something like that? Mein Kampf.
Yes.
What does it stand for? It's my struggle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
and you can still you can still buy
buy
it
on Amazon. You can still buy it $6.99. By the way, on Amazon Prime.
What is it? What is it?
Mein Kampf, Hitler's book. You can still buy it. All the money goes to the proceeds of the German government in Germany.
What his book?
You can still buy it.
Wow.
He wrote a book while he was in prison. He wrote a book,
and it's still on sale.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, that's a bit of a
okay.
WTF.
I won't show you. I won't show you the main cover. But there you go.
I buy all of them and burn them in my backyard.
A lot of people have done that. You know, a lot of
people read it on the internet as well.
The audiobook version.
It's mind blowing. It's mind boggling. And do you know what? It's like them releasing the records and information. It's like letting the horses out, closing the gate out after the horses got out, kind of thing. You know, what's it going to fix?
I think what it will do was it should add disclosure for the descendants of those who he was responsible for removing from this earth.
Yeah.
That's hard.
So all the families and the descendants, they're going to get disclosure. They'll know full well whether he was about or not. And now that he has truly gone, because there will be a lot of these people that were persecuted by him and the Nazis.
Yes.
Don't believe he has gone. They don't believe he took the coward's way out.
But then again, the only thing I worry about, he's had children and stuff like that, right? And they've had children, and they've probably had children now. I know I've said about them running the world and stuff like that, but it just makes the way the world's going now. The way it's like, there's another book, George Orwell, 1984. The way the world is going right now, everything is coming true. Everything is coming true.
Do you think? Sorry. Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that everything is coming true. We're like tracking and chipping, and everybody's getting watched. I mean, we're probably getting watched. See, because we're talking about this right now, we're getting watched. I can guarantee.
Let's all give them a wave. Let's all flash them.
But that's the thing. But see, this is the thing. It's you imagine what it's going to be like in 10 or 20 years from now.
I'm afraid. Yes. I'm afraid of my children.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's
in the UK anyway.
It's stupid because when you look at everything and you look at this, the way we're heading is going to be this crazy dystopian world. Because the amount of times that I've seen it come up on TikTok, where the other day I'm sitting there and I'm watching this video of a guy who has gone into a Sainsbury's supermarket. There are other supermarkets available, I should add.
Sainsbury's is nice.
And this guy was asked for his ID. He wanted to buy 2 bottles of alcohol and he was asked for ID. And he was filming because he knew what had happened in the same supermarket the week before with someone similar, and it all kicked off.
Wow.
So he starts filming. He turns the camera on himself, and you could clearly see this guy was over 50. Right? He had a beard. He was balding on the top, and he was a dark-coloured man, but you could tell he was middle-aged, maybe a bit older. And this Indian guy that was working there just refused to serve him because he didn't have any ID. Then the manager comes out. He picks up the bottles and walks off, and the bloke's saying to him, why is it I come in here on a regular basis and I buy my alcohol from here and I have never been asked for my ID, and yet all of a sudden now I'm being asked?
Yeah.
So, although you can legally drink at the age of 18, you can legally smoke at the age of 16, yet you've got to look 25 to be able to buy cigarettes and alcohol. Where's that making sense?
You just can't. I mean, if someone asked me for ID, I'd cry and say, okay, let me come and get my ID, because I'm so glad that they're asking me for ID. Not because they think I look young, just because I'm asked for ID. I'm like, okay.
I mean, I don't look 18. I don't look older. I don't look 25. But I've even been looked at when I've brought cans of Red Bull or gone to buy cigarettes. I've been asked for ID, or I've been looked at as if to say, are you 25 or less? And I'm like, seriously?
I mean, it's all fun me joking about someone asking me for ID because of, an age thing. But if they did ask me for ID, I just say, shove it up your arse. I don't want them. I'll go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Not bring the government into your shop and ask me for ID, because I'll just walk out and take them. So
yeah.
Then.
Well, that's what I said to this bloke in his comments. I'd have turned around and said, well, the second they turned around to me and asked me for ID, I'd have put the bottles down and I'd have walked out, and I'd have taken my business somewhere else.
Not doing it. Now, recently, I'm taking cash with me everywhere. And anyone who's watching I'm loaded, you'll not get more than a tenner off me. But I will take cash with me, card, and I'm with no cash. Oh, great cash, because there's places that will not take card and they'll only take cash, and there's places that will not take cash and only take card. So I'm like, if you don't take what I have with me there and then, you do not get my business. Shove it up your arse, you won't get my business.
And you get asked, you get told that as well. There are businesses out there that say they will only take card payments.
That's right.
Then you don't get my business, period.
It's like the European Union. They're bringing a new law in the next couple of months. I can't mind exactly what it is, but it's seemingly it's digital money.
Yeah.
Digital money. It's a new type of form of money, and it's going to be coming or the European Union. It's got to be coming to the European countries that use euro. So you're getting it, Jenny. So everywhere that uses like euro will be getting digital euros. So they want to phase the euros out, paper money, normal money, to digital.
Yeah.
Do you know what they can do with that?
But they use that a similar system in China at the moment.
That's right. The social system. I've seen that.
There was a guy he was on TikTok. I love TikTok because you can see so many truthful things, but some funny things at the same time. But this guy was in China and he went and brought a bottle of water. He didn't have any money on him. He didn't have his wallet or his phone, even though he was filming himself. So that didn't make sense. And yet all he did was walk up to a machine and hold his hand over the top of the machine. He had no jewelry on. He just held his hand over the top of the machine. It scanned his hand and it deducted it from his bank account.
Yeah.
And I got a text a few days ago saying, Jenny, your birth date is blah, 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 blah. The 4th vaccine is ready to come out. And you cannot reply back to these text messages because people like me would say,
yeah.
You love the mute button.
I do. I do.
I get them for my son. I get them for my son Ethan because he's autistic and he's on methotrexate. The NHS have turned around and gone, oh, well, he needs to have the COVID vaccination, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, he's not. Simple. He's not having it. I won't have it. I had the first two. First three, and I refused any more after that.
I'm a pure.
Do you know what, Wayne? I had the first 3 as well, but and I remember when it first came out. I remember when it first came out, and I was dead set against it because the government said you had to do it. I was like, you can shove that one up your ass too. I'm not taking it. But it got to. I know. I unless people's arses. But it gets to a point where you know that I'm not doing a second, third year stuck in my house. I horribly went in and said, so anyway, sorry, there's a lot of me muting myself tonight, isn't there? And I went in and they said to me, before I had the vaccination, right, with this big concentration camp looking like, and before I had it, she said to me, do you have any blood disorders? And I was like, I do, yeah. Well, first I'm rhesus negative and I've got low platelets, and that they check every 6 months, every year, they check my blood because I have very low platelets.
You're an alien.
I know, right? Don't.
Can I just reply to Jenny A?
Yes.
It was what one
There's
is it?
some. That's the one. Some hospital authorities have different rules and regulations. My son is waiting to have a hip replacement, and he has to take methotrexate, which lowers your immunity, and so he can't afford to get ill. Otherwise, it ruins his chance of having the hip operation. So, hence why he has to have the boosters.
There's Nancy.
There's Nancy. Hello, my darling.
Hello.
Hey, Nancy.
How you doing?
Welcome. I'm glad you're here. You look amazing. You look fabulous. See, I was like doing the garden today, and I was like, oh, the before, and I said, see the after, before and after. But I'll tell you very quickly, when I said I had a blood disorder and so on, they said they could not give me the vaccine. I had to go and get another blood test. And I'm like, but is this not okay for everyone to take? This is why I didn't want to take in the first place. I had to go and get a blood test. I went down to my doctor, who wasn't my normal doctor. She had to Google it. Then it was fine. She goes, right in front of me, she Googled it. And then she said, no, it's not fine. Hold on. And I said, am I reading on your screen about deaths where people are so negative and no platelets? And I have both, you arsehole. And then I had to go and get another blood test done to make sure my blood levels were up. And when I got it, my blood levels went right back down. My platelets went right back down. So it's just as well that I cannot reply back to these people, because I did try to text back, and I was saying, like,
At least you've got a doctor that actually.
One of those again.
Every time I go to the doctor, he just tells me to eat bananas and fruit.
I love your doctor.
I found this, and I've said this, I think a week ago, 2 weeks ago, but it's all about money and control.
Right.
You go to the doctors, you've got an ailment. They go, right, okay, well, we'll prescribe you this. So you have to go and pay £9.75 or whatever it is for your prescription.
Jenny?
And they say, well, you've got to take these for 3 months. So when you run out, let us know, and you'll have to pay out again. So big pharmaceutical goes, oh, yeah, great, I'm making more money out of this. The GP doesn't make that much money from each prescription given out. I think it worked out they make about 15 pence out of every prescription. The doctor makes about 15p. So
I don't know. Here it might be a little bit different.
They've got to provide their own prescription pads as well. So they have to pay for their own prescription pads and only get 15p from each prescription. So, of course, they give out prescriptions. Things like heart medication. I started looking into it because I thought, we'll go with this conspiracy for my Monday night show. And we looked into heart medication. And they were saying, like, you need this stuff and you're on it for the rest of your life. So you've got to pay X amount, or you might get a medical exemption or whatever, but someone eventually has to pay for that medication. Yeah, so you're constantly paying out for that somewhere along the line. But then they turn around and go, but the easiest way to cure this issue is dandelions. The flowers, the stems, the leaves, the roots, every single part of the dandelion can be used to stop the heart problem. Now, dandelions grow just about everywhere. So we did a little bit more digging, and we found out the company, the biggest company that provides heart medication for the whole world, also owns the weed killer Roundup. Yeah. And what is on the front of the bottle? A dandelion.
Holy be Jesus.
Yeah.
So heart
That's
medication
ironic.
is like that.
You can eat dandelions. You can eat them.
What about
Yeah.
you, Nancy? What's it like in America, Nancy, when it comes to doctors and prescriptions and
Oh, they are so bought and paid for by the drug companies. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It is in
It's all
America.
about
Yeah,
money.
they get kickbacks. They don't pay for their own prescription pads. I can promise you that. Not here, no, no, no. And we pay
And it's,
like a lot for insurance, a lot.
yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I haven't retired yet is because I'll be 65 this year, and I'm going. No, I like my insurance.
That's
I like
Yeah.
my paycheck, but I like my insurance a lot,
yeah,
and all those benefits you get from that. Even when Medicare kicks in, it isn't it's not the same. We've got right now we with my husband on Cobra and stuff, we've got double insurance for dental and stuff, and it's nice right now. We're not paying for almost anything, but those doctors, they get referrals and stuff to these drug companies. Yeah, they get pushed to write those prescriptions
Yeah.
for those drugs. Oh, definitely.
I mean,
That
my
is a
doctor,
huge deal.
my doctor loves me because I very rarely see him.
Mm.
And the last time I went to see him was because I had gout, and
Oh, that's
it
painful.
collected in my big toe on my left foot. So I went down to him, and because I could hardly walk, I've gone down there. I've hobbled into the room, and he's gone, right, medication. So straight away, he's issued a prescription. I've gone, right. So how long I've got to take this for? Got to take it for 4 weeks. So I'm right, okay. He said basically what that will do is it will break down the urite crystals that have collected around the joint. So I'm
yes,
like, okay, that's fine. Then it cleared, and that must have been about 3 months later. I got it again. This time it was in the right foot. So I'm like, right, back to the doctors I go. And then I thought, I'm not going to keep putting up with this. It keeps going from one to the other. What if
Yeah.
it goes up to my knee or my hip?
that's
So I'm like, right. So I started researching it, and I discovered that cherry juice breaks down urite crystals. So I went out. The next time I'd got gout, I could feel it coming. So I went straight to the shop. I brought some tart cherry juice. I drank the
Work.
entire bottle, and boom, it was gone. I
no,
haven't had. The second it flares up, I go straight out and buy the cherry juice, and it goes.
I've heard
And
about
Yeah.
I've heard about gout, and I remember saying it to someone before, and they said, "Oh my god, the word gout is disgusting," and X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
So I looked at how you can get gout, and I'm like, rich man's food.
Yes.
Like, and I
Yeah.
have to say, I
It's-
won't lie. I think it was before Christmas. No, this year I think I had it on my right foot, on my toe. My bed sheet could not even touch my foot. It was. I had
Right.
I had to
Oh.
lift my.
There's acid, like an acid that goes into your
I've
joints and
never
crystallizes. I mean, that
Yeah.
can't feel good, you
I've
know?
never experienced anything like it in my life. I had to lift my leg with my hand to move and let my leg go dead weight so my foot is not touching off anything. I've never, and I said to my friends, Jesus, I think I've got gout on my toe. And they said, oh my God, that's disgusting. And I'm like, well, fucking knock it out.
Yeah.
It's like,
How is that disgusting? What is your toe gonna like ooze gout or what?
you're making me feel bad for saying the word gout. And the word gout doesn't sound too well. Rich man food or shitty eating. Maybe I probably shitty ate because I was going through a shitty time, so I shitty ate. So freaking what? And my diet wasn't great, and so on. Life was life, and gout took over. And my
Yeah, but it's
Why
like
is
they
that
say,
gross? Because of the name? Is that why it's gross? Because of the name?
yeah, and
Yeah.
they say like rich man's food, and I'm like, hang on a minute. I mean, my mum said that it was red meat. Red meat causes gout, and I'm like, okay. So when was the last time I ate a cow? Because I don't remember having that much red meat.
Do you know what? And it's just like
Neither does a cow.
eating badly, and I ate badly for a few months because I went into a little form of depression. I didn't cook. I ordered food all the time, and I will. And anyone who knows me will know why. I did not cook food. I ordered food. I didn't get out of bed. I was going through depression, so I ate crappy food. And then that's what I got well, my lifestyle wasn't great, because life wasn't
Yeah.
great. And that's when I got it. And my goodness, let me tell you, when I read
You
it
know
up,
you've got it.
rich man's food, and I'm like,
Yeah.
McDonald's is rich man food. McDonald's.
Yeah.
Do you ken they've actually,
Rich
do you ken they've actually found human DNA in McDonald's meat?
Well, listen, that was months ago, and I was going through my shitty time, so I didn't eat it after that.
Hannibal Lecter.
Listen, I love Hannibal Lecter. I do love Hannibal Lecter. I shall not
The thing
lie.
is,
He would
I
probably love all he is, I know.
when my children hear things like that, I just turn around to them and I say, look, it's all part of the food chain. We go to the toilet, it goes to a sewage treatment works, it gets treated, goes back out into the sea, the sun evaporates the water into fresh water, up to the clouds, back over into a reservoir, back into your tap, back into your stomach. So it's the cycle of everything.
It's like the circle of life.
And,
Yeah.
so I know the word alone, the gout word alone, is horrible. I didn't even get to make it to the doctor. Whatever I had taken for it, and I can't remember what it was, probably Xanax, I don't know. But whatever I took for it, probably
Xanax, whichever.
Listen, whatever it was, it worked. But now I've just written down cherry juice, Wayne.
I like pomegranate juice. Pomegranate juice is awfully good for like ailments.
But you see, cranberry
You're
juice.
already trying to figure out what you can mix with cherry juice to make it palatable, like which liquor or liqueur goes best with cherry juice.
Well, you can actually
Yeah,
buy cherry.
you couldn't use alcohol because then you'd suffer from dehydration as well, and that doesn't help with gout.
Right, exactly.
You
Cherry
can
juice
buy
and there's
cherry
cranberry
liqueur.
juice. Cherry, no cherry. Listen, stop.
Cherry liqueur. Cherry liqueur is really nice. Cherry liqueur is a sweet, supple.
Yeah.
But it's
What would that
very,
be
very
good with?
strong.
That would be good with
But
Cherry liqueur.
it does have to be tart cherry juice, and I've actually passed that information on
oh, you can put that in a
to
margarita.
a fellow TikTok creator who has just discovered he's got gout coming up in his foot. And I
Right.
told him to drink a carton of cherry juice. Now, this guy, it used to be an ambulance medic. He had never heard of cherry juice being treated for
Oh,
gout.
really?
He
I've heard
has
it.
tried, he had a litre and a half of cherry juice, and he has messaged me this morning saying he is no longer in pain in his foot.
Oh, nice.
Shut up.
So,
And I've had gout 6 times, 2 times medicated, 4 times with cherry juice, and it's gone every time. As long as you nip it in the bud when you first notice it, you start drinking the cherry juice, and it will go.
I actually thought when I first got the pain, I thought it was like a bunion.
Yeah.
I thought it was a bunion, and then I seen my toe, and it was hurting me, and I'm like, bunion. Right, and the bunion doesn't feel this hard or sore. It doesn't feel this tender. My bed sheet could not touch my foot. My dog. I have 5 dogs who sleep in my bed. They were all caught in one night.
I thought I'd kick the wall.
Every time he stepped on my bed, he like jumped and like, now we want to play with mom. And I'm like,
wow.
My partner Ellen was peeling me off the ceiling every time something touched my foot. She was, I'm like, oh,
get off me, get off me, get off my foot. And even the tiniest of dogs, get off me.
I'm going to say there, a lot of the cures for ailments are naturally, you can take natural things. And it's the same with dandelions. It's quite interesting with dandelions because I picked one day and ate it in front of somebody. Oh, you don't do that, it's a weed. I said, no, you can eat dandelions. I just picked it and I put it in my mouth and chewed it.
I was always told as a child, don't smell dandelions, they will make you wet the bed. Don't touch the sap out of the stalk because it will burn your fingers. You were constantly being told not to pick dandelions.
No.
Now there is a law in the UK that says you cannot pick wild flowers.
Because of?
Being able to cure yourself for free.
Well, I'm thinking of dandelions for bees. Bees.
Or wine.
Well, I will say this though. That buttercups are dangerous. They can the buttercups can burn you. See if you pick a buttercup and how you smell a buttercup, or hold it up to your chin, kind of
Yeah, like
saying,
you love butter and
but see if you
Yeah,
actually
but
touch, if the pollen touches your skin, it'll burn you.
I've never
It's
noticed
something.
that.
It was actually a guy
Wayne
that
is
does
going to
get
go out researching tomorrow. I'm going to go out researching for buttercups and say, right, look, there's a load under my chin. Am I burning? Am I burning?
well, they
It's-
used to hold dandelions under their chin, and if it's shown yellow, you like butter or something goofy like that. Right?
Yeah, and that's just
Yeah.
got to do with your skin pigment and whether you've got
Right,
moist enough
right.
skin. You
Yeah,
know, it's
it's like
just reflecting the leaf surface.
It's like I grow a Pacific flower in my
But
garden. I grow nasturtiums in my garden, and they're called Empress of India nasturtiums, and they're
Yeah.
totally 100% edible. You can eat the leaf and the flower. And I think it was Irene in the chat
I
there. I
would
think
say,
she's
like,
from Japan. The
Iron is
Japanese,
saying they eat
Japanese.
dandelions in Japan. We eat
Mhm.
dandelions here.
there's
Mhm.
dandelion salad, yeah.
Yeah.
But
You
then
just
again, I mean, you look at dandelions. I mean, there's old wives' tales around them too. Just like, I mean, they used to take a cold knife and push, like you'd bang your head and you get a big lump on it. My neighbor had a cold knife in her fridge. She would like push it against it and shove it back.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
can we just say hematoma can kill you? But they
I
were.
had
I mean, back then they were. Yeah, all that different stuff was like.
make
I
dandelion
had
tea.
a cyst on the back of my hand once, and I went to the doctor's about it because I didn't know what it was. And she confirmed it was a cyst. And she went, "Do you know what? In the old days, they used to just put your hand flat down on the surface of a table or
Hit with a
something
book.
and hit it with a massive book."
Yeah.
A
So
Bible
what did I
cyst.
do? I went straight back home, found the thickest book I could find, and my mum had these two books called Funk and Wagnalls, and they were like an
Those are
encyclopedia.
encyclopedias.
They were encyclopedias, and we still got them in our attic today.
Oh,
And
that's
they are
funny.
massive books. They're like so
Yeah.
thick. They're really big.
Yeah.
So I literally put my hand on the floor and got the book and dropped it onto my hand. And within 2 days, it was gone.
They
Oh,
call that
lovely.
a Bible cyst because they used to take a Bible and
And
whack
smack
it
it.
because that was the
Yep.
biggest book in the house was the Bible. And they would hit the cyst with the
Oh,
Bible. That's a
Yep.
Bible cyst. I know.
we now know what to do next time that happens, which we don't want to happen, but
Well,
we
it
should.
depends on where the cyst is, doesn't it?
It's
Yeah,
usually.
yeah.
It's
I've got one right on my forehead.
Here's something you probably didn't know about me, Jenny, is I collect rare books, right? Yeah, I'm dyslexic. I know it's a joke at everybody's go, but I do collect rare books, and I've got one there that's a first edition, and it was Kellogg's. Kellogg's invented Kellogg's Krispies.
Yeah.
It's a first edition signed by him, and it's in the other room, locked away,
Oh
and it's
God.
a massive. It's about that thick, right? And
Okay.
it's got all like recipes for cures made out of like plants and stuff like that. In it.
You have it. Do you know what recipe? Do you know what book I have here that is the most only natural book that I have in my house?
Yeah.
What to give your pets rather than going to the vets. That's the only thing I have. What to give your
Yeah,
pets
that's a good thing.
rather than going to the vets. Because you don't want the vets give them medication, give them this, give them that,
Oh
give
God.
everything. And I because I've learned first aid for dogs and whatnot. And so I go with, as you can hear, my Hope snoring in the
That's
background.
the biggest book in your house.
In the background. So I do DIY. So saying the sometimes when the summer, the weather gets better and, I would have problems sometimes with, say if I took a stray dog in and whatnot and they had fleas and then my dogs would get fleas, you give them a little you fill the bath halfway up, fill it with lemon slices, put your dog into it. Then apart from kind of doing your house, but put it into a bath of water and lemon and garlic. And give them it depends on the size of the dog. You give them half a quarter of a raw garlic, and it will kind of prevent fleas and whatnot. So these are things when I go to the vet, I spend like €100
Oh, I
in
know.
the vets for my dogs,
It's horrendous.
and that's just for worming and fleaing and whatnot. 120 maybe. So I've tried the lemon and garlic bath. It works, but you've got a lot of work to do with it now.
A lot of lemon, let me tell you.
Listen, my lemon.
Garlic
I'm
bread.
picturing Rebel. I have a 120-pound German Shepherd. That would be a lot of lemon.
German Shepherd, he's
Is he big?
Remy, he's a big boy.
German Shepherd mixed with a.
Oh, and 1/4 Malamute. Yeah, so he's like a super wide boy too. He's like a 747 German
Talk,
Shepherd.
talking
He-
about dogs and that. What was that you posted the other day, Jenny, about there's a dire wolves or something like somebody's genetically modified? I seen that.
Wayne, should you or I take this one? Because if I take it, I'm going to mute myself.
I mean, I only read a little bit of it, but it's the
What
big
was the
dire
question?
wolves.
Say that again.
It's like the big dire wolves, like Game of Thrones or whatever you call
Oh,
it.
the dire
And
wolves
some,
that they. You know
yeah,
what?
they've made them.
You don't screw with God. Really don't screw with God. And if God said
Yes.
they're done, they're supposed to be done. I'm sorry. That's just my thought on it. Going, you don't F with like
No.
nature or the natural
don't-
progression of things or things like that.
What I want to know is where they have got this direwolf DNA from. Because obviously, and I was a bit late to the podcast that we did the other day, and I joined the podcast just as that part of the subject was finishing. So I was a bit annoyed because I wanted to share what I thought. And obviously, when you're sort of playing God as such with things like that,
Right.
to be able to recreate,
all the way across the board. Yeah.
to be able to bring a species back, you have to look at its most recent descendant. And then you have to go back through the stages of its evolution to the direwolf. So then you have to extract the important parts which made the direwolf.
Mhm.
And then you need to have a host to be able to carry the fertilized embryo to reproduce the
But
direwolf.
it's
So
still
all they've
washed-down
done,
version of it's a
I think
washed-down
all they've
version.
done is created a new breed of wolf. I don't think they've brought the direwolf back. I think it's a new breed of wolf, and that's it.
Yeah, that's exactly it because you cannot recreate it. You can't. You don't have their exact DNA and you don't have a parent that can carry it to term alive. So I don't care if you take whatever you're adding to it and say, you can call it a snickerdoodle if you want to. It's not a snickerdoodle. It is a version of, it's a piece of this and
Yeah.
a piece of that. It is
It's
your
another
own creation.
descendant.
Yeah, it's your own
Yeah.
creation. It's man's creation. It's not. God chooses what lives and what doesn't live. If they're extinct, they're extinct for a damn reason. Either we did it or God did it, but it's a natural progression of things, and you don't reverse that. That's it. If we did global warming at the time and we got rid of the dire wolves, then that's our price to pay. But we can't go back and reinvent whatever it is that we thought was there because we are not God.
It is possible that we could bring something similar.
Oh, I've seen that.
Sorry, I just want to answer this question with Jenny.
Yeah.
It depends on the weight of the dog. It depends on the weight. You can give them, say if you have like a 45 kilo dog, you can give them about a quarter of a garlic, half a garlic, and it will deter. Like this dog is humongous, and it will deter off fleas because of the skin and the sweat and the garlic. But garlic now, say if a dog ate a dish that had a lot of garlic in it, yes, it is very, very bad for them. But you can give them, say if I have say a 5-pound chihuahua, I can give her like half a quarter of garlic to give to them for flea repellent and so on. Yeah. So I would not suggest, don't go by what I do. I've been doing it for years. Don't go by what I do. It depends on the weight of your dog. You will have to speak to your vet. It depends on your dog's weight, health, and so on. So don't go by what I do. I just go by what I know. That tiny it depends. Like always, get your dog's weight before you can give them any raw garlic at all. Say if you make pasta and you have garlic in it, and you give your dogs the leftover, there's garlic in it. They're going to eat it. Some do, some don't. But so for me, don't go by what I'm saying. And I know garlic and onions and grapes and raisins are very bad for
them. Feed them that stuff, though they're more prone to eating their own
right? They're very, very, I know they're very potent to dogs and they will break down their kidneys and so on and so on, but only go by the weight of your dog and the health of your dog only. So I'm saying what I give with my dogs, and I don't do it every season. I do it at the beginning of the season, and the rest I go veterinary treatment. Even veterinary treatment I don't trust either.
See, the
So
problem, the problem with what I've got with my dog right now is it's coming into summer, and she's a border collie, and she's terrible for getting ticks.
Mm.
And I need to go to the vet and get, is it that stuff for tick? And I can't remember what it's called. It's like stuff you put it on the back of their neck.
yeah, there's a few different brand names. There's, oh Jesus, now you're putting me on the spot now for even thinking of it. If you see, now you see, people say if you see a tick, remove it, but you cannot remove it if you have no idea what the hell you're doing.
Yeah,
The
you
vet-
have to be very careful.
The vets will do
I've
it,
Oh, you can leave the head in.
No,
and the head is the most poisonous part of it.
yes, I've got a special tool kit that the farmer, it was actually the vet gave me at the farm, and it's got like a wee hook,
Tools?
and you put it on, and then
Yeah.
you twist it, and you twist it, and then you pull
Nice
it,
one.
and it takes the head out at the same time. I'm well
Oh,
trained. in
I'm
doing ticks.
sorry. If I see a tick, I just scream, and my
Oh.
husband takes it. I don't touch.
I'm all
Yeah, they can
in.
get fat. I'll tell you that now. They can fill up with
Yeah.
I'm
blood.
all in alcohol and the Vaseline and whatnot. Put it on,
No.
and then
Drink the alcohol. Yell for my husband. Absolutely not.
I had
they're
a
like,
tick.
I do not do ticks.
I had a tick land on me once, and it went down the front of my shirt, and it literally decided to burrow in just over the top of my belly button. And I made it very uncomfortable because I took my lighter out of my pocket and I got the lighter really close, and it decided, I don't think I want to be here, and it got out of its own accord.
I've had
It,
Lyme's
it,
disease.
it, I literally just put the lighter close to it, and it got really, really it just got too hot for it, and it jumped
You
off.
know, they'll
It was
hold a
gone.
fire up to somebody's butt. They're not going to back up. They're just going to back out.
I'm
That's
going.
all.
I'm going to say
I
this
don't
to
do
you
no ticks,
Lyme's
bloodsuckers,
disease.
things like leeches.
Lyme's disease.
I fish.
Yeah.
I fish,
Yeah, I've
but
had
I
it.
do not touch leeches to put them. No.
I get back
No.
by attack. It was about 10 years ago, and I was walking around terrible for like raking about in old mines and stuff like that. And I get back, I could see something hanging out my leg, and I just put it out. I didn't think anything about it. I just put it out, didn't think anything about it. A couple of days later, a weird ring appeared,
Cool.
and then another
Ring
ring appeared round about it, and it was no. I thought it was that, and then I started to feel right no wheel, and I mean, I felt terrible. I felt like I felt as if my life was getting drained out of me. And I thought, I better go to the doctor. So I went to the doctor, and actually at that time it was an old doctor. He's not here anymore, he's retired now, and he's like, "You've got Lyme's disease," and he gave me penicillin. And I'll tell you something, I was glad to get that, because I felt I couldn't even touch my leg. It was all like swollen.
Right.
Yeah, you can still see the scar to this day.
I remember going fishing with my daughter, and we were up in the north of Ireland. We were going fishing. The next day we came home. I had to get stuff for. It's going to sound funny now, but listen, it worked. I had to get stuff for my dog because we were at a lake up in the north of Ireland, fishing. And so you're at a lake, you've got flies, hives, whatever you have there. They're all going to land in it and bite you. So my daughter came home with this big ring around her. The next day she had this big, it's called the bullseye. So I had to take her to the doctor and call. And my dog had bites all, and now it's Hope. So she's a thick body and a thick coat, but they still got to bite her. And I think Elsa was fine and Vic was fine, whatever. I got nothing at all. Nothing. Do you know why? Because I went wine fishing. I was drinking wine while I was fishing.
You had a bullseye though? She had a bullseye. Isn't that like isn't that mosquito disease that
bullseye. I took her to the cottage hospital, and of course this doctor, male, said no, she's fine. Gave her antibiotics, and it went away. Now I'm thinking, you little.
But it can go away, but it doesn't mean it's gone. That Lyme disease. Lyme.
Yes.
It was
right.
And the circle was. I drew a pen around the circle to see if it gets wider and wider.
Yeah.
It was a red dot in the middle, and the circle, and just skin and the circle around it. This arsehole said it was nothing. And I looked it up, and I looked it up, and I looked it up, and this.
You cannot get rid of Lyme disease. You can't get rid of it.
So
Once
now,
you have it,
I'm,
it's
I'm
there.
still,
now
I'm
she's
still
21.
suffering for that.
She's 21, and her lower back is hurting her, and so on and so on. And I'm like, so now when I go back to the doctor this week with my daughter to say, right, listen, I forgot. I know every time Jenny always says LOL, Jen, every time I mute my microphone, because I do. Now I have to go back to my doctor, and oh Jesus, take the wheel. Today's
Yeah,
not the
you
day.
listen
I
to your
really
cat.
don't want
I'm going to say the new. I'm going to say the. I'm going to say the new with Nancy. Nancy's right, because still to this day I've got problems with my liver and stuff like that, and problems with my kidneys, and the doctor still says
Jess
it's
is
because
having
you
lower
have
back
Lyme's.
pain. Jess is
Yeah.
having lower back right side pain.
Yep.
Are
And
you?
that's usually, and
Sorry.
yes, and it
Hear
could
me?
cause, because when I get that, it was on my,
tell you, I was
thigh.
on
It was
that
on my
doctor
thigh, and I get a high dose antibiotics, right high dose antibiotics, and it kind of helped.
Take the
Then I
wheel.
got another dose of antibiotics, and then I was still no real. I felt better, but
I
and I
tell
went
you
back
now,
to the doctor, and it damaged my liver, and it damaged my kidneys, and it
Chris,
damaged other things.
Jessica has a
And
back
I've
pain.
got, I always get back pain because
And I showed the lower back pain, and I said, Jessica, is that, that thing happening and whatever? And she goes, Mum, down here on my right hand side. We never got the sample test back from the doctors and whatever. I'll tell you now, if the doctor that gave my doctor an antibiotic or painkillers or whatever, and in the Cottage Hospital, it was on a Sunday afternoon, Cottage Hospital, that I had to bring her immediately. Even though she has no symptoms, I just seen it, I Googled it, I put a picture up on Facebook. My friends had told, Dr. Facebook, don't you love them? And I brought her up. I'll tell you now, if that guy is dead, I'm gonna.
you're meant to get like special treatment after it, which I've been getting done.
Well, and
For the
could they
last
not
few-
Google it? Like seriously.
They gave me 2 courses of antibiotics. The first antibiotics didn't really do anything, they just take away the pain a wee bit. The second course, I don't know what they were, but they made me feel terrible, but they did work. But it did its damage because I was stupid. I didn't wait 2 weeks. I waited a month before I went to the doctor. Right? But if you get treated the time that you get bitten, you're less likely to have problems. Because I'll wait longer, that's why I have no problems.
See, now my daughter, and she's only 21, has a pain in her bottom, not her lower back right hand side. This is her second time. She goes, Mom, it's not a backache. It's on my right hand side, and I'm thinking,
It feels-
kidney.
The kidneys,
And I'm
yeah.
thinking, I will get the date. I will find out from my ex-husband, when we went fishing. If you can't find it, find it. I'll even drive up and get him to go through your records of what date we came and what
should have
date I
taken a
went.
picture of it.
and
You
what
should have
date.
taken it. Yeah, you should have taken a picture of it.
I did. It's many years ago, and I will get records if I have to drive up to Hollywood and Belfast to go and get the records, because he has to keep records. If he doesn't, the Cottage Hospital, for even hiring this doctor, if he made a wrong diagnosis with my daughter, I'll tell you now, I am not the person today to play with.
You get the bullseye from Lyme disease.
I will lose my shit. What? That's what she had. It looked like a red dot and a circle around it. And I'm thinking, you 2-bit.
And to go, you're fine. You're fine. I mean,
worse.
What? Yeah, I mean, you could use Google and go, yeah, we got to follow this up again. You can have her tested, though. They can test her for that and find out if that's the case.
Is that what it looked like?
It was, the dot was smaller, but the circle was exactly the same way.
Yeah, it looks like a bird, like a kind of a starburst circle.
If she had it, I tell you now, that was like Jessica.
Yeah,
the dot in the middle. Yeah, that's exactly like Jessica. Listen. Hold on, I need to mute myself, because I swear to Lord Jesus, I'm going to need the wheel for this, because I want to ring the Cottage Hospital now and live and say, here.
As long, how long was it after you taken her that you got the antibiotics?
I'd say it was the next day, Chris. The next day.
That'll be fine. That'll be fine then, because it's if you leave it, it damages you. If you get like antibiotics the next day, you're all right. It's if you leave it. And the reason I was lucky is because the doctor, you would just remember, I live in a farming community, and ticks
Yeah.
are notorious to be around sheep
yeah.
and stuff like that.
Cows and sheep,
And
yeah.
yep. And what do you call it? A lot of the people were getting. I had
dog.
to report where I had to report where I get that, because it's meant to be right down if it's carrying the disease line for a certain area.
Aye.
And I'm all right. Well, not all right now. I've probably shortened my life to 60, but it's things that as long as you take antibiotics after you've been back, like the next day, you should be fine. I waited about a month before getting the treatment.
I don't think I've ever muted my microphone so many times in one
I
night.
know, it's
Just
weird.
like-
You know, but I mean, we're nearly at the end. We're
Yes, you
nearly at
have.
the. I mean, we're nearly at the end of the show. We've got 10 minutes left. Jenny, tell us a story in the next 10 minutes. Come on, something supernatural yet exciting at the same time. You've got 10 minutes. I've
Oh,
drunk all my juice.
what can I say? What can I not say? What can I? Well,
How was your trip? How was your trip to Leap Castle?
it was great. I had to film for a TV show that I cannot talk about, but it was brilliant. It was great. It was. Can't say a lot about it, but I had so much fun doing it. I even sang on it, so that will be shown.
You sang on it? Was
I
it like
sang
singing
again.
Ghost Hunter?
I sang on it, and I did some, acting, like.
I see a ghost.
Like
It's
I
coming
had,
for
I
me.
did my acting, but when we were talking, and I swear to God, the guy was saying to me, Jenny, when I'm interviewing people, and this big huge spotlight was on me, and the microphone, and the cameras, and there was cameras and sound men and whatever, and I'm like, I said, oh God, I wish it was StreamYard. I wish it was StreamYard. I said, no, if you had had this now in Lepcastle, they would be like, Jenny, retake. But apparently I have a Facebook camera. Just saying. That's what they said, Jenny.
You can't have a song play anywhere, like in the background, anything, and it'll totally it's like shiny things to you. You're like, oh, and
I'm just off. Yeah.
See, that's it. Nobody's done it. We need to do musical ghost hunting.
yeah, it's
Karaoke
music
ghost
for
hunting.
her. It's not shiny things. It's music. If she hears it in the background, we can be talking on a video, and I can play something in the background, like 80s music is like the key. 80s, early 90s, and you hit something like Walking on Sunshine or something, and she'll be like, oh, and forget everything she's talking about. It's just, oh, that song.
everything. But I did sing a little nursery rhyme. You will hear it. I had to sing the whole thing because I sang one line and they said, Jenny, can you do that? But can you do it? The full verse. And I'm like, oh my God, and really? So I did. It's going to be very exciting. And
With the red carpet.
I remember one of the guys saying to me, Jenny, when they're kind of when they're watching, and I'm not looking at them, I'm looking at the camera. So the person's here asking me questions and I'm looking at the camera here. So I'm looking in the camera. So I'm answering the questions, I'm looking in the camera. And then he goes, telling my stories, my experiences in Lepcastle and so on and so on. And they were saying, I remember he was saying, normally kind of like when he's asking questions and people are answering, he kind of, not all the time, he'll just daze away now and again, but he was getting goosebumps. And I'm like, yeah, welcome to my world of Lepcastle.
See, you're becoming an actor now, Jenny. You're becoming an actor. You'll just be like Mrs. Doubtfire. See, oh, hello there, Jenny. It's been a while since I've been in the silver screen.
He does it all the freaking time.
I'll tell you this, the new that handsome Wayne here, handsome Wayne. I tell you that, the new. I'm only 137 years old. 1993.
I don't even understand half what he's saying. It cracks me up.
So apart from me, what about you, Wayne?
Really well.
What have you got next for you, Wayne? What have you got next for you coming up?
For me, we're filming at the Bucks Museum in 2 weeks' time, so that should be interesting. So I've never been to that location before, so I've heard quite a few things about it, so that should be quite interesting. And
When you
then
say-
my public events team is hosting an event at Kelvedon Hatch Nuclear Bunker at the beginning of May,
Ooh,
wow.
that sounds
and
good.
we filmed there a couple of years ago, and there was a very negative energy in there that didn't want us there, and tried to take it out on my partner Ellen. And my
Where's
spirit
that?
had to jump in and get rid of it quick, because it was very nasty.
And when you go back to that place at the end of the month,
Sorry,
when you go back to that place,
Kelvedon Hatch Nuclear Bunker is 17th of May.
oh my gosh, will you let us know how that goes? Because
Aye, that'd be interesting.
And
to see
where's
that.
that?
Yeah. It's in Brentwood, which is South Essex.
I've seen
Okay.
that. I've seen that on YouTube. That nuclear bunker, because I had a thing about nuclear bunkers. Because there's one
It's-
near me.
Yeah.
Aye, but
Anything
It's a
bunker
brilliant
is-
place on 3 floors, and just about every floor has something happen on it.
Yeah.
It-
Don't you
it's-
wonder why a place like that would be haunted, wouldn't you? Because it's not as if there was a nuclear war. There was no.
Yeah, I mean, people say that to me. My answer to them is it doesn't have to be anything to do with the bunker itself. It could be the land that it sits on.
Yeah.
When the bunker was built, they had to remove a cemetery, because it originally was farmland. There was farmland and a cemetery next door, and there was all the soil and everything that they took out of the ground.
right,
They had to put somewhere, so they removed the cemetery and put all the soil on top. And so obviously some of the spirits that are there could be the people that were interned in the cemetery that weren't happy that they were being removed.
could you imagine if you were in a cemetery, and this could happen when we're gone and whatever we do it ourselves afterwards? Could you imagine, say, if we were buried and someone came along and kind of like dug up the,
We're going to put you somewhere else.
how would you feel about
I
it?
don't know that it would bother me though, because it's not me
I'm
per
good
se.
I'd be pissed. I'd be like, you
Yeah.
bleep. I'd be.
I don't think I would.
I don't really bother. I'm
And
good.
there's-
I'll be off in Jen's room singing 100 bottles of beer on the wall just to piss her off, you know.
And then, of course, there is also the theory that if you worked there in life and you enjoyed being there, you could come back in visitation. But this particular negative energy, she was having an affair with a serviceman that was working there, and she made him ill on purpose so that he ended up in the medical centre. And she tried to persuade him to leave his wife and his children in favour of her, and he said he wouldn't. So she hit him over the head with a bedpan and threw him down the stairs. Now, the medical centre is on the top floor, and it is a spiral staircase, a wide spiral staircase, right the way down to the bottom 3 floors down. And she's literally thrown him off the top after hitting him over the head, wheeled him out
Like
into
down
the
the middle, or
stairwell,
did he roll like all the way down?
threw him down the middle.
Oh,
And that was supposed to have been the cause of death. So, of course, over the course of about 4 hours, that was what we were told, that he was killed by her. And then when we went to investigate the medical centre, we were all sitting there, there's 9 of us, and there was a very strong smell of disinfectant. Very strong smell.
Wow.
And we're sitting there and we're calling out.
Right.
And all of a sudden, my partner Ellen's shoulder just literally went down like that, and you'd see her move. And we were filming all of this happen. She was like, my shoulder hurts really bad. And out of nowhere, I just turned around and went, Joanne, can you please come into this atmosphere and remove this energy? We don't want her here. And in an instant, Ellen got up off the chair and stood up, and she went, oh my God, that felt really bad. And then everybody all at the same time said, can't smell the disinfectant. The smell's gone. All 9 of us literally had gone. And it was just phenomenal, because we were on the same floor. We were getting the story of what had happened from 2 different people the actual serviceman that it had happened to, and the nurse.
Oh,
And
wow.
we had
That's
it all
crazy.
documented on film. And we were getting weird, strange lights going on. And obviously, we look at orbs and we go, oh, the spirit orbs, and most of it's
Oh,
dust or bugs.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very small amount of them could actually be spirit. But we were having orbs or light anomalies going in directions completely different to the ones that we were seeing that we said were dust. And now it was moving erratically, or it would go in a different place or go straight into a wall and come out the other side.
See, that's
And you're like,
yeah.
dust
It's
doesn't do that.
so weird when you're sitting there and you're watching this stuff and you're going, oh my God, did you get, because who's going to believe, like, oh my God, and you're
Yeah.
seeing this and you're going,
And the good
okay,
thing was there was 9 of us there, so we all experienced what was going on. So we were all there, we
right.
all witnessed it, including 4 people that don't come out with us filming, because every now and then we'll invite people to join us, so they get a first-hand experience of what we're filming. And even they were sitting there scratching their heads because they couldn't believe what they were experiencing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I would
I
love
bet
to
you
do
bet.
that.
So would that.
Wait,
Is that when
So you
Wayne, do you have
invite
a
people to
YouTube?
come along to, like,
Let's
just
go.
witness?
Yeah, I mean the episode. It's the show. The show we do is called Truth Beyond Paranormal.
Okay.
We're on TikTok under Truth Beyond Paranormal TV,
Fun, yeah.
and then it's just Truth Beyond Paranormal on Facebook and YouTube.
Mhm.
We usually go out and film once a month, and then we have a break over Christmas because it's usually too cold. And some of these places they turn around and go, "Oh, if you're going to come here in December, you're going to have the heating on, and we're going to have to put the price up because we have to use the heating."
I know, right?
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
let's
Jenny's
just-
been there before.
Oh,
I've seen her with her scarf wrapped up to her nose going,
I have been in locations where oh my gosh, I've been in locations where inside was colder than outside.
and they have
Yeah.
no heat there or anything. And
No
yeah,
heating,
bundled up
no
to your head.
nothing. It was just wrong. Not wrong. Well, wrong, but not wrong. But
I'm just going
it
to
was way
Care
too
Bears
cold.
thing. Chris, my friends loved their reading last weekend. They're still talking. I bet there. I bet
No.
there.
Aw, sweet.
That's crazy. That's when there's places when it's colder inside than it was outside. What is
Well,
Yeah.
at least when there's like everybody standing around, you see everybody's breath, and then you see somebody that you don't see their breath. You're like,
colder inside than it is outside? It's like freezing. I remember being in the place down in Cork, and it was, oh my God, it was so cold. Some places were okay. Some places were just like, okay, well, really, really, really getting cold. We did not sleep. We were supposed to. We set we did set the air beds up, but we never got into them. Oh no, we didn't. We just kept going.
was that? Oh my God, yeah, because I watched that when you had like a bunch of people. Everybody was like getting ready to slide into bed, and they're going,
Yeah, we kept going.
no.
Jenny's a veteran.
Oh, listen, I'm getting too old for the all-nighters now, but I'll still do it. I know when we're in Lep Castle and everyone's like, 3:00 in the morning and people are setting up the air beds and I'm like,
We had that once. We were investigating a place called Harwich Redoubt Fort, and it was built during the Napoleonic times. It was completed in 1810. And the only room in this entire place was the hub room. And just one of those big iron bar heater things. And we were camping there as well. So we went out and we investigated. And this building is in the shape of a giant concrete donut. And has a dry moat around the outside edge.
wow.
A courtyard in the middle with a lamppost that looks like it's just come straight out of Narnia. And
Oh,
so we've all got there. We've pitched up our tents in the dry moat, and we've gone about. We've done our filming and everything, and just basically just investigated and enjoyed our night. And we weren't really paying much attention to what the time was, and we were supposed to be out by 9:30 in the morning, and we'd all sort of going around, got carried away, And then at 4:30, someone actually noticed what the time was. And they went, I think we better go and get some sleep. We're only going to get a couple of hours before we have to be up.
Yeah.
So we're like, right, no problem. So we've shut all the doors because we get locked in.
Yes.
The only accessible way into this place is via a drawbridge, and we have to lock the gates behind us when we go in. And then when we leave, we open the gate, we leave, and then we have to throw the key into the dry moat. There's no way anybody can get in there.
Yeah.
And so we've set up all our tents are all set up. We've all got in the tents, and we're all sort of sitting there. And then out of nowhere, someone went, "Night, John boy," and that was it. It was night, Mom, night, Bob, night, Jim Bob, night, Lucy Lou, all this, and one bloke out of all of us, Alan, he was a stickler for the rules. He wanted to go to sleep.
No way.
We were all annoyed with this guy because he had one of these big old BBC mobile cameras with him.
Oh,
And it was a massive thing that he had to full weight on his shoulder. And no word of a lie, the spot lamp that he used on the top, you could have lit up a soccer field with this floodlight. It was massive. And all through the night, all he did was kept bursting in on our vigils with this video camera with this spotlight on. And we were all getting blinded and we were getting really annoyed with him.
Jesus.
So we just said, right, that's it.
Oh, my God.
We're going to get our own back on him. So we all started, night, Jim Bob, night, John boy. Then someone would break wind and everybody else would start laughing. And this poor guy, Alan, went, nope, that's it. I've had enough of this. And we hear him unzip his tent. And when we all sort of peered out of our tents, he's packing everything up. He packed all of his gear up. He walked it all the way upstairs to the drawbridge and demanded that they let him out. And he went home.
I tell you now.
It was the Jim Bob, wasn't it?
It was so funny. He was only going to get 3 hours sleep anyway, so he would have been lucky to get into a deep sleep. But
yeah, you don't want to get like driving with after being like that. Yeah, you
just come out. You just finished a paranormal investigation. You're suffering from the typical paranormal hangover. The adrenaline's still pumping, and there's him going, "I want to go to sleep. I'm never going to get to sleep with you lot messing about." And like, yeah, I only live 17 miles down the road.
I'm sorry,
so
you're not sleeping.
It was very easy for me when we finished at that time, 4 a.m, to get in my car and drive the 17 miles home and sleep in my comfy bed.
Right.
But I'm not. No, I'm still high. Yeah. I'm pumped up still.
I know when I see these people getting into bed and I'm like, why are we finishing at 3 o'clock? I'm still... Listen, it's getting,
Everybody in my family would have been like,
yeah.
I'm not even kidding you.
3 o'clock in the morning. We're not going to bed yet. I'm not finished investigation. I want to keep investigating. You know, I know people drive the next day. I didn't have to drive, so I get that point. But I wasn't done yet. I wanted to keep going. I know when we go to Redwood Castle on the 18th and 19th of July, now we're there for 2 nights. I know Capra team know the castle as well. They know the castle. Hugh knows how to work that kitchen well, so I've appointed Hugh because he goes, oh, Jenny, I make the Capra fry. No, I'm doing a Scottish and Northern accent. I can't even do both. I'm doing a Capra fry, Jenny. We're doing a Capra fry, and I'm like, the kitchen is yours. I'll buy the sausages and whatever else. The kitchen is yours. We should have a What?
You say Capra?
Yeah.
I investigated with them when they came to Colchester. I know you.
Yay!
I know you.
They were in Lepcastle with us 2 weeks ago. Oh,
You're all right.
I know Hugh about over 10 years. I love Hugh. Yeah, you know Hugh.
I first met Hugh. He came over to Colchester, and we watched Do You Believe in Ghosts at the Mercury Theatre. And we came out. Me and my partner came out, and we were talking about it. And this voice just suddenly went, We're paranormal investigators as well. And
Yeah,
it struck a dialogue between us. And then he said, we're coming back to Colchester to investigate the Red Lion Hotel.
yeah.
If you'd like to join us, you're more than welcome. So I did. I went and joined them, and
That's
brilliant
brilliant.
evening.
They're coming to Redwood with us on the 18th and 19th of July. If you want to come over, you can join us if you wish. You and your partner, come over and join us. Redwood Castle for 2 nights.
Unfortunately, I've got children.
Oh, I do.
Oh, the
Shut
strange
Don't let them
things
hear you
from
say
beyond the
Take
veil.
them with you. Take them with you. There's a dungeon there somewhere.
Aye,
between
tie
the
them
two.
up,
We've
Yeah.
got to wait
What's
till
their
they're old enough to
teenagers
move
will be
out
going,
before we can do
"Yikes, no,
international.
no."
Oh no! Oh, you have to come over at some point. Come over to Redwood. I'll tell you now. And do you know what? I get yourself and Hugh on a show one night that you can talk about your investigation.
When was that? 2 years ago now, I think it was.
I'll arrange to get yourself and Hugh on to, or even you do it on your show, or I'll get you on my show, and then we can do a show about your investigations. And I do love Hugh. He's lovely. Oh, he was telling me some stories about 2 weeks ago in Lep Castle. Let me tell you. No, and just no. Hugh, if you're watching this afterwards, no. There's one particular I
I
can't
like
talk
a
about.
story at night.
He was telling us
Just
about,
stop
he was telling us about a particular place, and it made my skin, it made my, it takes a lot for me to get the heebie-jeebies. This was the heebie-jeebies. This was the heebie-jeebies.
Well, you'll need to tell us
Where
about
was
that
that?
one night.
Hugh, I tell you, if Hugh will come on the show one night, and then Wayne will come on as well with Hugh, and then we'll talk about it, and then I'll ask Hugh ahead of time to see if he would talk. No address. No, he didn't even give us address or anything like that. But oh my gosh, it was like a movie. It was. I'm going through my mind about the whole thing. It was like a movie. It was an absolute.
But listen, I'm just going to say to everybody, thank you for coming tonight. Well, I can talk behind the scenes. My iPad is at 1% battery, and I need to plug it. So, the wee battery indicators are flashing.
Oh,
and
the
I'm
flash
staying
on
the
it.
show, and then I need to plug it in to charge. Everybody for coming tonight, thank you so much for coming. Wayne, thank you for being here. Jenny, as always, thank you so
Welcome.
much for being an awesome
Always my pleasure.
co-host. Nancy, thank you so much for coming. But we can all talk behind the scenes. Everybody be safe out there. Lots of love for me and everybody here.
Thank
See
you,
all
everyone. Thank
soon.
you.
Immensely interesting. Bye.
In the darkness of the night, we send our dreams to the stars, leaving Earth behind, searching for life. Wonder if there are aliens in their cars, floating through this cosmic sea. Are we alone or just a mystery? Searching the cosmos, seeking the truth. All of our voices echo to the moon. Alien life, tales of the youth. Together we'll dance to the celestial tune. Galaxies swirl in an endless dance. Messages whispered, caught in the winds. The universe spurs our wild romance. In this quest, a new chapter begins. Eyes are watching from afar. Will we find them, or are they just a scar? Searching the cosmos,